Healing Light takes you on a journey where you'll explore the nuances of energy. You'll visit the angelic realms and study the ancient wisdom and teachings of spirituality. We want you to reach within and discover the magnificent being that you came here to be. We help shine God's divine healing light by bringing love, light, and blessings into your world. And now, here is the host of Healing Light, Teri Van Horn.
Hello and welcome to Healing Light. This is Teri Van Horn, and I want to thank you all so much for being here with us. And also, again, unfortunately, apologizing for the throat. It's goes back and forth, and at least today I have a voice. Yesterday I didn't, so it's much better. I also want to give a huge thanks to the lovely, lovely people over at OMTimes Radio for being so wonderful and supportive of me and what I'm doing here. And I just want to thank them for their kindness, generosity, and working with me. For those who may not be familiar with me, I'm a spiritual mentor and teacher. I work with distant healing, a tremendous amount. I work with color, crystal, and vibrational healing, and I do intuitive readings and counseling. I do a lot of medical intuitive work, which is ironic since I have the throat issue, but sometimes we don't always have the opportunity or the ability to work on ourselves. That can be a little bit frustrating sometimes, but there's a reason for it, and that's okay. Now, I've also written several books. One of them is called Chakras, which is all about the normal chakras that you're familiar with, as well as the advanced spiritual chakras and the minor chakras. I have 365 Days of Blessings, which is like a daily devotional. Harness the Power of the Light, which is all about psychic protection. Manifesting the Life You Desire, that's helping you find your bliss and finding your divine purpose so that you can get out there and do it every day and live a life of joy. I also have the Magic of Crystals, which is kind of like Crystals 101. It lets you know a little bit about how and why crystals work for us. There is a little science. There is a little bit of intuitive stuff. There is a little bit of metaphysical stuff. But it all works together. And, we all use crystals all the time. Sometimes we just don't realize how much we're dependent on them. I also have the Mystery of Crystals, which takes you a little bit more advanced stones and helps you to move forward in working with them. Now, you can find all of these books on Amazon. The easiest way is just to pull up my name, Teri Van Horn. Or you can go to my website, which is healinglightonline.com. Now, you can also find things on my Facebook page, which is also called healinglightonline.com, which will help out. That'll give you all sorts of information about what's going on, specials that I do, because, I do special readings or sessions every once in a while. So it gives you the opportunity to not only learn a little bit more about what's going on, but also get some discounts with it as well. So keep that, information current. Keep checking it out, and you'll be able to see what all is going on. I do have a couple of things on my page right now that I do want to kind of remind you guys of. One is Hay House has their summit, and it is a wonderful online thing that they've got going on over the next 20 days. My very dear, wonderful friend Radley Valentine is going to be doing segments on that. So go to my website or my Facebook page, find it and sign up for it. And you get to hear from 100 of their authors. It's online and it's free, which is amazing. So do that. Also, I am doing a GoFundMe campaign because of needing to do some medical stuff and, just needing a little bit of financial support right now because the way I make my money is working and helping you guys. And if I can't do that, then the money doesn't come in and the opportunities to share and help others doesn't come along. So I would like for you to check that out. And if you're so inclined, please consider the possibility of donating. Also, check on my page for some info on Humanity Healing, because they do some amazing, amazing work. And they also need not only our prayers, but also a little funding every once in a while to help with others. So that's all the commercial stuff. So let's talk a little bit about today's subject, which is, learning about your intuition and developing it. How do you do it? Who gets intuition? And how we can develop all of that and trust, which is the main thing with intuition. It's all about trusting it. Because guess what? There aren't just a few psychics in the world. There are billions of psychics in the world. We all have the ability to pick up messages intuitively. Now, it's true that we don't all do it exactly the same. I don't always do it the same 2 times in a row. And that's okay. But you have to figure it out, how you do this, how the information comes to you, and then you have to trust it, which is always, always a big challenge for everybody, is to be able to trust that information and the intuition. So there are people who are like born with this, and it's just there and it's done, and they don't have to do anything. The information just keeps getting poured and flooded to them. Well, good for them in a way, and sometimes not so good in a way. That can really be kind of traumatizing. I have seen things that I did not want to see. They were very negative. I might see, and most of the time, honestly, the things that I saw when I was younger was related to animals, because I have such a deep connection to animals. And I would see an animal dying or injured or something like that, and I pushed it away immediately. So I had the gift of clairvoyance, clear seeing, but I could not handle the images, and I pushed them away. And, in doing that, it kind of clogged everything up. But that's okay, because it was something that disturbed me then, and it's something that still disturbs me and affects me now. Because I'm also an empath. I feel. And I feel animals. I feel people, but I really feel animals. And so I need to have that little bit of a break and not see things that might be really sad, depressing, something along that line. Now, it is nice to know some things, particularly when you're working with your own animals, about what's going on. But you just have to, be careful about some of it. But we are all intuitive. We have a lot of different abilities, a lot of different ways to be intuitive. We have what we're called the clairs. Clairvoyance is what most people are familiar with, which is clear seeing. That way you kind of like get this movie sometimes going on, which is kind of amazing. We have clairsentience, which just kind of like, you just know stuff. Don't know how you know it, but you know it. We have claircognizance, another feeling, knowing how something is because we feel it some way, sometimes in our stomach during our solar plexus. We have what's clairaudience. We hear things. A lot of people that do that. And sometimes, you just have like these little voices chattering in your ear. You have to learn how to turn them down. And then, let's see, what's the other one? Oh, being able to smell or taste. That is an intuitive ability. I've only met one person who really was able to do that, but she could smell or taste the difference in crystals, the way some of us may not be able to tell the difference between 2 clear crystals. And we have to like look or try or do muscle testing or something like that. She could smell them or taste them and tell you which stone was which. It was amazing. It really was funny. And probably the funniest time was whenever she and I were together at a section where Max, the crystal skull, was. She didn't know really anything about Max. She happened to be working at the place where they were making an appearance. And so I let her have a little bit of my time to go in there and spend a little bit of time with Max and see what she thought. She came out and she was like so dry. She had to have something to drink. And she's like, oh my gosh, so dusty, so dirty, so old. She says, what is this thing? And of course, it was one of the ancient crystal skulls. She didn't know that. And yes, Max is spotless all the time whenever, Joanne has him out. But it was just funny because she was able to taste and smell and really know that this was something very old. For her, it was like going up in someone's attic. So I thought it was cool, but also kind of hilarious too. So we have a lot of different ways that we can pick up things intuitively. So, you have to understand what your ways are. Whenever I do something intuitively, I may hear a word. I may just say something that I have no clue what I just said, or no clue why I just said it. I will know something. Sometimes I hear. Sometimes I will see a little flash of an image, and I mean a very quick little tiny flash. Or I may see the flash of a word. So in a way, whenever I'm doing a reading or connecting with somebody, I'm picking up on everything, all the different intuitive abilities. Doesn't make mine any better or any worse than anybody else. I know some people who absolutely just see that beautiful, 3D movie going on. So there are a lot of ways that we can do this, but what we're going to talk about next is...
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Do you want to be a better communicator? Do you want to better connect with the important people in your life? Do you want to enrich your relationships? If so, join me, Matthew Cooper, on the Positive Control System Show every Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on OMTimes Radio. I'll meet you there.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR-FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Developing your intuition. Now, we've already said that we all have this ability. We, pretty much all have a lot of abilities. Talking, singing, writing, sports, playing an instrument, anything. We all have different abilities. And some of us are better at some than others. You wouldn't want me doing anything sports related or athletic. But there are other things that I can do that are really, I do a good job with. So everybody has their own abilities and their own talents, even though we all have the ability to do something. So when it comes to being intuitive, and I do prefer to use the word intuitive rather than the word psychic because, psychic kind of reminds me of the little old ladies with, all the gypsy jewelry and clinging and, their crystal ball and a little bit of scamming going on. I know that there are many, many, many people who are psychic and intuitive that are not like that. That is just my own preference, is to use the word intuitive. But we do all have this. And we can all develop it. I mean, there are some people who just have it. They just, born with it. It's right there. And to them, that is completely normal. The rest of us sometimes have to develop it. There is a school in England. It's the Finley School that is all about learning to be intuitive. John Holland went there, and he studied there for, I think, 3 years. I mean, it would be awesome to go to that school. I would love that. But, a little harder for me to take off for 3 or 4 years and go do that. But there are things that we can do ourselves so that we can be more intuitive. Now, the first thing is the most obvious and sometimes the hardest to do, and that is meditation. When you meditate, you're learning how to listen. I have always said that prayer is nonstop talking and meditation is nonstop listening. And that's what we need to do. Now, for many of us, sitting down trying to do the traditional meditation, we're on the yoga cushion, we're doing our Om chanting, does not work. If I need to make a list of things to do, I can sit down and try to meditate like that, and I'll come up with it every single time. Everything I need to do. But I do better going for walks. I do better standing underneath a hot shower and letting that rain down on me, because the energy is amplified with water. So anything that you do around water is going to help amplify what you're getting. But meditation is important, no matter how you do it. Don't get hung up on technique. Honestly, another way that I have done meditation is by sitting down in a comfy chair with my iPad playing some of those little silly online games. It's mindless work. It's like my finger is busy moving the little characters around. My eyes are kind of busy watching it, and my mind is quiet and numb. I know a lot of people who wash dishes, and that's a big one. You wash your dishes by hand. That's a good way to meditate. So don't beat yourself up if you can't sit on the little yoga cushion and chant Om all the time, because you don't have to. Also, don't beat yourself up if you fall asleep. I can either be the world's best meditating person or the world's worst. It depends on how you look at it. You can say I'm the world's worst because I fall asleep. You can say I'm the world's best because I fall asleep and I'm relaxed enough to do so. Either way, it's okay. So just give your spirit an opportunity to tune in. Now, I do always start my meditation with a short prayer. Doesn't have to be anything formal. If there's something I want to focus on or get an answer to, then that's what I do. I'll ask for that. And then once you start going in to those different levels of brain waves, particularly the theta level, it's amazing what happens. I've had stuff happen that was absolutely not intentional. I mean, totally not intentional. One time, when I was married before, my husband was getting ready to leave for work at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And he came in to tell me bye and asked me to see if I could find someone's address that he needed to get in touch with. It was like a client who was trying to bail on money and stuff. So he's like, if you get a chance, see if you can track this person down for me. Now, this was during the Dark Ages, okay? Nobody had computers. We didn't have cell phones either. Okay, so there was not a lot of resources to go track somebody down. But what happened was he had accidentally tapped in to my higher self and my higher consciousness. Because I was dozing off and on. I was in that theta brainwave when he asked me about that. So what happens? He leaves. I never notice because I'm still out. But I have a dream and I see that person in their car pulling up to a house not more than 10 miles away from where I live. I saw the name of the street sign. I saw the house. I saw everything. So when I woke up, of course, what did I do? I got dressed, jumped in the car, and went over, and guess what? It was there, exactly the way I saw it, including that person's car in the driveway. Now, that was not something intentional. He didn't know what he was doing other than the fact that he was just asking me to do something. And I wasn't quite awake yet. So you see, when we set the intention, in this case, someone else set the intention, gave me the information that was needed. But you can do that yourself whenever you're meditating. Say that little prayer and ask for guidance from God, from your angels, from your guides, from your grandma. It doesn't matter because you're talking to spirit. So do that. Set that intention about what it is that you need to know about. And I guarantee you that 9 times out of 10, you get an answer. Now, you may not get one as precise as that one that I got. But I haven't gotten a whole lot of them that clear again because I got hit right in those theta brainwaves. Now, I still get information and messages, but not on the level that one happened. I've had others that were very similar to it, but that was the one that really stood out the most because I actually got in the car, went to a neighborhood that I was not familiar with, but because of the directions and the stuff that I saw in the dream, I drove straight there. That part was really shocking. And I didn't realize until later on what had happened. I knew that he had, this had happened while I was being suggested something in a dream. I didn't understand the fact that it was with theta brainwaves and how I was picking up that information from, spirit. Now, once you figure out how you're going to meditate, just do that and take a little bit of time. You really do not have to do that 6-hour-a-day meditation that, people start bragging about. Well, I meditated, for so long today on world peace, and I did this and I did that. I'm like, well, pat yourself on the back, honey, because, good for you. You don't have to do that. Quantity does not necessarily mean quality. Yeah, I can sit there for 4 hours and do meditation too. But half of it is going to be list making of things that I need to do. Whether it's personally for home or if it's for, some of the healing light stuff. So for me, I can't do it that long. If I do 30 minutes or an hour, that's huge. And that's okay. Don't have expectations when you do this. Because if you do, then you're going to be very unhappy about what comes up. I mean, you have to be creative. Use things that you enjoy, things that make you happy. If you enjoy painting, doing something creative, as you do that and you're doing something creative, you don't have to do a lot of logical thinking. You're just letting it flow. And as you are in the zone and letting it flow, ideas and information come through to you. It's that simple. But if you're doing something that you enjoy, me, sleeping was the one. But if you're doing anything that you enjoy, that raises your vibrational frequency so that you can get those messages. So that's one really big way to be more intuitive, is to listen for those messages. Do things that make you happy. Because once you're happy, your heart chakra expands. Your heart chakra is the connection to your soul. So it will help you so that you can connect with spirit and get those answers that you've been looking for. So it's very easy. Do things that make you happy. What is gardening, playing with your pets, petting your dog or your cat or horse, whatever it is that you've got, your llama if you're my neighbor, do that. And it will help you relax and quiet your mind. Now, when we get back, we're going to talk about some other ways that you can become more intuitive and pick up those messages. We'll be back in a minute.
This is OTRFM, part of the IOM radio network.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
You're listening to OTRFM, part of the IOM radio network.
Van Horn, and you're listening to Healing Light. Today we're talking about developing your intuition. Now, we've talked about meditation, talked about being creative. I've also told you about how I do a prayer of intention before as I'm going into the meditation state. Now, when I do that, I'm asking God, my angels, my guides, to help me with something. I don't call out anybody specific because I feel like that the best person for the job is going to step forward and give me that information that I need. Some people get really hung up on, well, who gave me this information? You know, which archangel was it? You know, who's my special personal guide today? Well, you know, those are all really kind of like ego questions, because if you're connecting to spirit, it's all coming from spirit. Doesn't matter who the person's or the entity's name is, because we are the ones who name them. Humans are hung up on names. Spirit, they're all connected and they're telepathic. They don't have to do the name thing. I mean, good Lord, can you imagine that angels who have been with us from the beginning of time, do you really think that their names are like easy, like Michael and Ariel and Gabriel? It's kind of hard to believe that those names would carry forward for 10, 20,000 years of humanity. It's possible, but what I'm saying is it doesn't matter. If the message is about light and love, if it's being supportive, encouraging, anything along that line, that's from spirit. If your message comes in like this, going like, really, who do you think you are? You cannot even pull that off. You know, don't know, you know, you're just making this stuff up. Don't even worry about it. You can't do it. You know, anything that is negative, that's going to tear you down, that's going to be from the ego. Because when you live from spirit, then you start disconnecting from that ego. You still have the logical mind. We all still have that ego because it's part of our personality as a human. But it doesn't mean that you have to live exclusively for that. So listen to the messages that you're getting. If you ever have doubts about it, just make sure that your messages are only from the divine, from love and light. You know, have Archangel Michael kind of as your own personal gatekeeper. He'll make sure that nobody else comes in and gives you bad information or something negative. You know, spirit is going to uplift you all the time. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get a negative message or something that you don't want to hear sometimes. I was connecting to a friend last night about a situation that they were dealing with. And someone has been really doing them wrong. I mean, like legally, really messing with these people. And I gave them the message, and part of the message was, and I prefaced it by saying, look, you're not going to like this part, but, you know, it's my job to give it to you. And that was, look forward, don't look back. Don't go into this battle with these people constantly. Move forward and let's go accomplish the dreams that you've been wanting to do. So sometimes Spirit's going to give you messages that you don't want to hear. You know, I did a radio show one time where I had people calling in all the time for readings. And every single woman that called in that night for 2.5 hours was asking about her boyfriend or her soulmate or, you know, whatever they were calling them. And every single one, I mean, it got to a point where it was funny, and then I started feeling bad about it, and they got funny again. But I had to tell them all to dump the guys. It was just kind of like, tonight is our night to dump everybody. But that was the message for everybody that called in. So you have to trust the messages that you're getting. That is not easy. Every time that you're getting messages, you're going to get some stuff that's probably going to make you think that you've lost your mind. One of my favorite ones was that I was doing a mediumship for someone. Her fiance had died. And I'm in the middle of it, and I keep getting images, and I keep hearing the word peanut, and I keep seeing the word peanut, and I keep seeing peanuts flash in my eyes. And finally, I just had to like stop everything and say, look, I keep seeing peanuts. I said, I don't know what it means, but it's like, I have to stop because I can't do anything else until I tell you this. And then I went on and I finished the reading. And I thought, well, she's going to think I'm crazy now. Well, a few days later, she got back with me and said that she just couldn't discuss it with me at the time. But that was his code word to her to let her know that the message really was from him. And it was just too emotional for her to discuss it at the moment, which I can understand. So no matter how ridiculous the message is, trust it. Because, you don't get in the middle of a conversation about career and have peanuts jumping in all over the place. So, but that was the most important part of the entire message. So you do need to trust, even though the messages may seem totally insane. And they really will be sounding insane if you're doing readings for somebody else. If you're doing something intuitive for another person, it really will make you think that you're crazy sometimes. But if you trust it and give them those messages, that's usually the one thing that they needed to hear to know that the message was authentic and on target. So do that. Trust what you're getting. Now, a lot of people get messages and information in dreams. And I think that's great. I don't, but many, many people do that I know. Keep a dream journal. Like when you wake up, write stuff down while it's fresh. You don't have to write an entire book. 3 sentences can get you right back into that state. So write those things down, and that will help you to get the messages across. Now, there are things that you need to do for you to get you together and ready to be more intuitive. One is you need to work on your own energy system. Work on your chakras. If you're not familiar with the chakra system or getting that energetically aligned, you need to get with someone who can teach you or someone who can help you. You can find lots of stuff online about it. You can find meditations online for free. And there are a lot of really good ones that you can pay for. But help to get your energy right so that it can be higher, so that you can access the messages. Now, you can do that different ways. One is working with the chakras. I like to just kind of do like a little meditation with grounding before I go into like a real meditation to get information. You can do things like go to classes. If you can go to the Finley School, more power to you. That would be awesome. So do classes. Practice with somebody else. That's a really, really good way to do this and to pick up this information. Now, earlier I mentioned doing things and being creative, doing things that you really like. That raises your vibration tremendously. The higher your vibrational frequency is, the easier it is for you to connect with the angels. It's their job to be that in-between between God and us. On a 1 to 10 scale, God is like 8 billion. Okay? He is way up there. As a human being, we're not even going to come close. But God has all these wonderful angels, and he has a complete hierarchy of angels. And as they kind of trickle down, their vibrations drop down as well. So that we have the archangels and the angels that work with us, their vibrations are a lot lower than some of the other ones. Doesn't mean that they're less. Actually, it means that they can connect with us much more easily. Because I promise you, If you have a hard time trusting and believing and accepting messages from your angels, what are you going to do if you get one straight from God? Or if he comes in and materializes next to you? We'll be scraping you off the floor. Okay? We're scraping me off the floor and everybody else that I know. So the angels are the messengers. That's what he has them for. So the higher we raise our vibrational frequency, is the easier we can connect with those angels. And that way, it's easier for us to get the answers and the messages that God and the angels have for us. Now, there are so many different ways that you can do that and raise your vibrational frequency. You can do it with essential oils. You can do it with crystals. You can do it through music. Oh my gosh, if you listen to anything with harp music or anything with 432 hertz, that just skyrockets your vibrational frequency. I listen to that a lot. And it raises you up. Because regardless of what the music sounds like, it will lift you up into a higher level where you're going to feel better and happier no matter what's going on. It does that. Now, another big way to work on your frequency, you're not going to like this, okay? But don't shoot the messenger. It's your words and your thoughts. If those are negative and you are running around doing the poor me thing, or as I refer to it, kind of like wallowing in the mud, you're not going to be able to raise your vibrational frequency. Now, that does not mean that you have to run around, with blindfolds on and doing the Pollyanna thing, because sometimes things just suck and there's no way around it. But you can look for the bright side. And when you do that, it will help raise your frequency and help you to move higher. Then you can make those changes that you want and talk to your angels. We'll be back in just a minute, and we're going to talk about some more ways to raise your vibration and talk to your angels.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
This is Teri Van Horn, and you're listening to Healing Light. We're talking about developing your intuition. Now, when you're picking up messages intuitively, you're connecting with spirit and the divine. Whether you want to refer to it as God, angels, ascended masters, it's all the same, and it's all one. But we have a lot of ways that we can raise our vibrational frequency so that we can connect easier. And as we do that, we're going to develop our intuition even more. Now, another thing that I happen to love is candles. I always have a candle burning on my desk all the time. And that is just another way for me to connect. Now, candles are also a great way to meditate because you can just kind of like stare very softly into that fire. And that'll kind of put you in that little bit of a trance-like state so that you can move forward. Now, there's so many different things that you can do. You can do stuff actually with water that raises your vibrational frequency. When I drink water, there are a couple of things that happen. Number one, I am blessed to live out in the country so that I have actual artesian water from my well. I do not have nasty city water that has all the chemicals and stuff in it. But in addition to my wonderful artesian water that I have, I will also put crystals. I put shungite in there, which is the best crystal that you can use to clear out impurities in water. I use that all the time. I have a piece of shungite in my water bottle. I also have a Herkimer diamond in my water bottle. Now what happens is the water is in there with these stones and it is picking up the energy from the stones. You drink the water, it goes throughout your body and your cells, now with the energy and the properties of each of those stones. You do have to be careful about which stones you use, but you can use them and that can help raise your frequency. So that's another great way to do it. Now, of course, crystals. I love crystals and I love working with them to help raise your vibrational frequency so that you can connect to spirit. You can hold one, you can, have them around you, whatever you want to do. Don't let someone who's misguided think that you might be, worshiping or praying to the crystal, because that's not it. And a lot of crystals do have energy beings connected with them, particularly stones that are carved, like the crystal skulls or any of the dragons, or any that are like ceremonial pieces that from history. They all usually have energy and an entity attached to them that is positive and loving. Very rarely is it something negative. So, connect with that. And that will help raise your frequency. Crystals are definitely my favorite way to do it. And you can work with a lot of different types to accomplish certain things. And we've talked about that before, and we'll talk about it again in, other programs. Now, another way to really work with increasing your intuition, raising your personal vibrational frequency, is about food. If you're putting a bunch of garbage in your body, junk food, processed stuff, things that aren't necessarily positive and good for you, it's going to gunk up your body and it's going to gunk up your energy flow. If somebody has got, like if they drink a bunch of alcohol or eat junk food or, they're constantly in the drive-through, that food's not good for you and it's going to make you more sluggish. And it's going to prevent you from vibrating at a higher frequency so that you can connect. This is a big deal. Now, I do have some friends who, are vegetarian. And they swear to me, this is it. This is the way to go. It helps keep their body cleaner. And of course, if you're going organic, that's even better, okay? Keeps their body cleaner and purer. They don't have as many toxins to process in their body. And so it helps them to actually be physically lighter. And they can connect easier. So it's a wonderful way to do it. I am almost there, but not quite. I still have some food issues to, work out, like sugar and sweet tea, but I'm working on it. But you see, what happens is when you do this, it makes a big change. Now, I've been off of red meat for like a long time. And I can tell the difference because if I do go and eat something, and if I eat something with red meat, I mean, maybe a hamburger or maybe, pizza or something with meat on it, I can tell the difference energetically. It does make a difference to you. It will kind of slow you down and make you more sluggish. You won't be able to connect nearly as high as you would if you were eating a better diet, less junk. Ways to tear yourself down, obviously, drugs, alcohol, bad food, things like that. But also, we have to go back to some of the other things. Your words and negativity. That can really clog up your intuitive ability. There are people who are going to be intuitive no matter what. I have seen some people that are highly intuitive sit back and drink like an entire bottle of wine and then go and do readings and just nail it and be totally accurate. I wouldn't be able to do that. For one reason, I choose not to. But secondly, that's just, to me, that wouldn't work because that brings in more negative energies than it does positive. But all of that is really a personal choice. The main thing is learn how you're getting the messages. Trust them. And then act on them. Doreen Virtue told me a story one time that was like really funny because she said people didn't understand. They've been meditating and doing all this stuff all these years. And they were like, how do you get all this information? And I get nothing. And she said, well, they know I'll act on it. Now, if that doesn't, straighten you out, nothing will. Yes, Doreen acts on it. When she gets those messages, I try to act on it every time I get one. Sometimes I'm still a little dense. I don't always pick up the messages as quickly as I should. But I know that if I don't, believe me, it's going to come back around and they will do something to get my attention. And sometimes it may not be the most gentle attention getter that you would like. Just like a parent, sometimes they've got to go and just kind of like set you down and straighten you out to get your attention, and then they can go and give you the messages. But listen for them and trust what you get and then act on it. Set boundaries if you're going to do mediumship. Being a medium is someone who connects with those who have crossed over. Sometimes those who have crossed over have a real problem with boundaries. And sometimes you just have to say, guys, really, chill. I have to do that sometimes with information from angels because there will be times where I get a buzzing in my right ear. And it's not in my ear, it's outside my ear, that is almost unbearable. It's so loud. And so I immediately just ask my angels, guys, please, can you tone it down just a little bit? Now, I don't know what they're telling me. I have no clue. But it's information that I'm going to need later on at some time or another. And that information is going to pop out. And then we're all going to go, where did that come from? But I know that that's where it's coming from. It's coming from those messages and those downloads that I've been getting. Now, another thing that you can do before you go into your meditation is to just say a little prayer, asking God and the angels and your guides to come in, give you the information that you need, and then just go for it and be quiet and listen and see what comes up. Now, sometimes I will come up with this inner dialogue and I will be like working everything through. So when it's doing that, when I'm getting this inner dialogue, that's almost like just this conversation between me and spirit about, yes, this is what you should do, and this and this and this. I don't try to clear that because that is my message coming in. So you do have to be very discerning about what comes in and what you pay attention to and what you ignore. I don't hear words, sounds, voices that are any different than my own thoughts. So it's not like all of a sudden, one of my angels comes in and it's like, this high squeaky voice or something. That's not it. Not for me. For some people, it might be. But you have to learn your way and trust your way. And when you do that, then you're going to be getting guidance and information continuously. Now, again, I want to remind you to check out my Facebook page, Healing Light Online, for specials, information about humanity healing, information, obviously, about Healing Light and what I do, and also to sign up for the Hay House World Summit, because you really, really do want to do that and listen to it, because it's all recordings. So you can listen to it online at any time. And sometimes I'll just download them if I don't have time to listen, and then listen to them later. So sign up for that. Next week, we're going to talk about working with the rays and learning about the different colored rays, the ascended masters, the crystals, and the purpose with them. You can find more about me on my website at healinglightonline.com. So thank you so very much for everyone who has been with us. And remember that you can find information, everything on the archives with OMTimes. I wish you much love, light, and